We've got lineups, we've got interviews, and we've got highlights from practice. Let's go. What's going on, guys? What's going on, 27 Squad? Welcome back into another video, and we have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to try to crunch it down as much as I can, but as you guys know, it was officially media day for the Giants, where the beat writers, the analysts, the guys that get the news out there for us are able to get inside the building and watch practice, do interviews, like the players and the coaches, all that fun stuff. So now, instead of just watching what the Giants put out there, now we're going to get different takes and different opinions and different reporting from everybody, including guys like R. Stapleton to Pat Leonard. And we've got a lot of interesting information today, and let's start off first with the lineups. As you guys know, I like to start off with the offensive line because that is probably the biggest concerning thing, is who is going to be set there at the offensive line. And a lot of you may have been wondering why Josh Ezeudu was constantly lining up at left tackle. You guys saw the infamous picture, and I even posted it on my community tab on YouTube, of Brian Burns lining up on Josh Ezeudu, and a lot of people were wondering why Ezeudu was even there in the first place. Well, Andrew Thomas is kind of being held out. He's on like a limited practice basis where he's kind of being held out of those 11-on-11 drills, and Josh Ezeudu is working there at left tackle in his place. Also, it's not just Andrew Thomas, it is also Evan Neal at right tackle. He is also kind of getting limited reps. He's coming off an injury that he suffered late season last year. The acquired offensive lineman Aaron Stinney is in his place at right tackle for that time being when he is not on the field. Now, it's good that Josh Ezeudu is getting time to practice, but as Bobby Skinner said on Twitter, I completely agree with him in saying, I don't know why they keep putting this guy at left tackle, why they keep putting him out of position. I get that he is flexible, he can play left tackle as he did at North Carolina, but it is not ideally his position. The Giants drafted him in the 3rd round, which is a high pick. That is the same round Jalen Hyatt was drafted. In fact, he was drafted higher than Hyatt. Okay, he was drafted 67th overall as opposed to Jalen Hyatt, who was drafted 73rd overall. And another 3rd round pick, Andrew Phillips and Cordell Flott, all drafted in the 3rd round. These guys are put in position to start. You got Josh Ezeudu, who is playing out of position, who he was supposed to be drafted as a guard, and he rarely gets work at guard. It's really hindering his ability to grow as an offensive lineman. So all jokes aside with the Josh Ezeudu memes on Brian Burns, but I really feel for him, man. I really wish, he got a chance to start at his natural position at guard and, be a productive guard at that, and maybe we wouldn't have to keep rotating these guys in, and maybe he could actually be useful for us. Now, staying with the offense, we'll talk about the defense later. Daniel Jones looks pretty damn good out there as far as his ability to move. He does not have the knee brace on, as he said in an interview as well, and you don't notice it at practice. And he is not playing 11-on-11s just yet. Drew Lock comes in there after Daniel Jones in replace of him, mostly working on individual drills, 7-on-7s. You saw a lot on that on Twitter. Now, I found it very interesting that Daniel Jones was asked about the potential trade for Drake May during the draft and how he felt about it, and it's going all over on Twitter right now. And his quote, he said, "I'm not fired up about it." Initially, I took that as he wasn't fired up about it, like he didn't think it was a big deal, but the way he said it, I'll just play it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't fired up about it, but I think that it's part of it at this level, and like I've said, but
he wasn't fired up about it. I mean, he wasn't too thrilled about it. That means he was kind of upset about it. He was a little worried about it. But someone asked later on during that press conference, if he was taking it personal, if he did take it personal. He said, "No, I don't really take it personal. You kind of just go with the flow, and he's just gonna keep working." I like the attitude from Daniel Jones, man. I do like Daniel Jones. I really want to see this guy succeed, man. I hope in this next season that he goes out there and balls out and plays up to his contract, that we don't have to draft another quarterback, man. Everybody comes at me. I fight with people on Twitter all the time. Those people know who they are. The anti-Jones guys and the Jones like super lovers. I kind of hit him with a 2-piece, both sides, but I try to keep things fair. But at the end of the day, he is the Giants quarterback right now. I am trying to trying to support him, man. I want to see him do well, and all I can do is hope. But if it doesn't work out, the writing's on the wall, man. Also, in other quarterback news, it looks like Tommy DeVito is turning heads, and even Art Stapleton is saying this may not be, you know, a Drew Lock is QB2 type season. Tommy DeVito is really challenging that spot, and he has been performing pretty well. Now, I don't know if Tommy DeVito has been practicing with the ones at all, because sometimes you'll see them rotate in there, especially if Drew Lock is running with the ones, which I heard that he's not doing pretty well. Tommy DeVito has been pretty sharp, even had a quarterback keeper that he ran a long way for, as reported in the Giants news. Now, we got to talk about Malik Nabers for now the third time doing these OTA practices. Malik Nabers has been as advertised. He is the guy as advertised. And I know I hate being that guy. I'm just waiting for it to all crash down because it just seems so good to be true. Malik Nabers actually looks like that wide receiver one that the Giants have been looking for since Odell Beckham Jr. And you see all these other teams have multiple great wide receivers on their roster, and I like Darius Slayton, I like Wan'Dale Robinson, but these guys just don't dominate. They're good pieces. In fact, they maybe even be great pieces for us, but they're not dominant. They're not wide receiver one type guys. And Malik Nabers just he's balling out there. He even caught a long pass by Drew Lock running with the first team down the seam, which when I hear seam, I hear the slot. So he was lined up in the slot. So that's interesting that they're going to be putting him all around, man. Outside slot. They're going to be putting him everywhere. I'm happy. I'm so enthusiastic about Malik Nabers, and hopefully he could provide a spark to this offense. Pat Leonard reported saying he was open every single snap he was on the field. That is so refreshing to hear. I mean, I know it's OTAs. I know it's vanilla defenses. I know there's no pressure. There's no contact. I get that. But for someone to say that about one wide receiver goes a long way, that you're not saying it about the rest of the wide receivers. Fellow rookie pass catcher Thibodeaux Johnson also provided a lot of juice today on the offense. He caught a lot of passes from Drew Lock and even Tommy DeVito. He seems like he's going to be a good athletic sort of pass catching option at the tight end position. Now, we don't know what's going on with Darren Waller, but like I said, like I said in other videos, we may see that role be thrown right onto Thibodeaux Johnson. I'm really anxious to see how Daniel Bellinger is doing. I mean, I don't know if he's out there right now. I haven't heard anything from him. Haven't heard anything about him, but I'm a big D Belly fan. So I'm hoping that he still gets his time to shine in this season. And we can't forget about Jalen Hyatt. He's also doing his thing, catching a lot of deep passes. He caught one from Tommy DeVito today. All right, let's talk about the defense. I was actually more excited to get more defense information, as there's a lot of lineup concerns, right, as far as the secondary goes. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I really want to focus about Kayvon Thibodeaux and Brian Burns. I'm loving the duo. I just love picturing them together. Number 0 and number 5 off the edge. These guys are just slim, bigger type, edge rushers that also have that quickness to them. I'm just so excited to see how they're going to be implemented onto the field. And Brian Burns, I've been a fan of for quite a while now. I love watching him on the field when I was watching Carolina Panthers film. Now, it was also announced today that not only will Kayvon Thibodeaux and Brian Burns and the rest of the edge rushing group be working with a new outside linebacker coach, Charlie Boulin, but now they will also be cross-training them with the D-line coach, Andre Patterson. I think that's something a lot of people have been really wanting going into the next coming years as far as the development of these pass rushers. To me, I don't even know why this hasn't been a thing up to this point. Kayvon Thibodeaux is going into his third year and now is just talking about, working with Andre Patterson on the D-line. I mean, Kayvon Thibodeaux is a pass rusher. He should be working with Andre Patterson. And here's what Kayvon Thibodeaux had to say about now working with Andre Patterson and how it's different from last year.
Scheme and things like that, they've been working hand in hand. And when you kind of see how it's going to continue to unfold, I think last year the interior and the edge weren't cohesive, but now it's going to start to work like clockwork, and that's the maturity. That's where I'm growing as a player, and we're growing as a defense on being able to play as a unit.
So I'm not going to go as far as to say that was a shot at Wink Martindale and Drew Wilkins, who were the outside linebackers coach and the defense coordinator last year that almost started a coup and destroyed the New York Giants. But I will say that it is a better idea to cross-train with the D-line coach because these guys are lining up on the D-line anyway. And I'm just so excited for Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeaux, those big three on the defensive line. I don't know who's going to be lining up as that second defensive tackle, but Shane Bowen and I think Andre Patterson and even Kayvon Thibodeaux, Brian Burns, they're all talking about four-man rushes. It is so ideal to have a four-man rush and playing man defense. You know what I mean? Have a four-man rush and man defense. If you're successful with that, you've got yourself a good defensive group because man defense is hard to do, and rushing with just four guys is hard to do as well. So if you can do both, that means you've got a good group. Here's what Brian Burns had to say about lining up with Dexter Lawrence.
Just knowing your personnel, knowing who you're rushing with. Like if I got Dex with me, let me not even spill the beans. Just know if I got Dex with me, I got a plan. Have you seen him?
I don't know about you, but that hypes me up a little bit. Brian Burns has something cooking. Brian Burns is burning something up right now, but he's cooking it to perfection.
Someone cooked here.
All right, to wrap things up, we got to talk about the secondary. There is a lot of news regarding the depth and the lineups and who's starting where. And also we got some, some highlights, or they don't show the highlights, but I'll be telling you the highlights of what happened at the OTA practice. The defensive backs were active today at practice. All right, so some lineup news. You guys know 2 days ago when we talked about OTA practice number 2, we talked about how I thought Trey Hawkins was the runner-up, the guy that it's his job to lose at that cornerback 2 position, but I was mistaken. It is Cordell Flott that is right now lining up at the cornerback 2 position right next to Deonte Banks. Now, secondary coach Jerome Henderson said that if the season started today, Cordell Flott is CB2, and it was also announced by Cordell Flott himself in a press conference. I'm surprised that he got a press conference today, but he did, and it was announced by him first couple of seconds that right now, Brian Dable, Jerome Henderson, I think Shane Bowen, he said too, have confidence in him to be the cornerback 2, and he's thankful for the opportunity. So listen, I don't care who starts there. I just want to see them perform. I'm interested to see how he does, man, because we've experimented a couple times with a couple of guys, right? Going back, we didn't know if Darnay Holmes would be there. We didn't know if a guy like Julian Love would be there. And then fast forwarding, we had Aaron Robinson there. We didn't know if Andrew Phillips is going to be the cornerback 2. And then, we had Trey Hawkins we experimented with. Now Cordell Flott, it just seems like a musical chairs at that second boundary corner spot that you can't blame me for not being so optimistic about it, but I'm hoping for the best from him. Now, he did come out and say that he is still at 177. I don't know if that's going to be a major factor to his game when playing, because that is a small weight to play on the outside. You're going to be facing bigger receivers on the outside, where as opposed to the slot, you don't really need to be, 190 pounds to play the slot. You can be smaller. In fact, it's probably more advised to be smaller as you'll be facing smaller wide receivers. But standing at 177, having a little bit of a slim frame, I don't know how successful he's going to be against bigger wide receivers, but we'll have to see. Andrew Phillips was lined up in the nickel, so he is the starting nickel for right now. And then your 2 starting safeties is as expected right now in Jason Pinnock and Dane Belton. I know Tyler Nubin, we just drafted him in the second round, but guys, it's early in OTAs. They're not just going to give him the starting role yet. They're going to allow Dane Belton to kind of lose it. But Dane Belton played pretty well. He was at center field today, also had a pass breakup that could have been an interception, couldn't hold on to the ball, but hey, he's been known to be a little bit of a ball hawk in his time with the Giants. So he has very little playing time, but has like 4 career interceptions already. So he's doing a good job. It seems like it's his job to lose. We'll see what happens. Tyler Nubin is working with the second team, however. We're also getting a lot more Nick McLeod news. This is probably his 3rd year with the Giants, and he's getting a lot more news around him than ever before. He's had a couple of pass breakups up to this point so far, and now he's been on the field often. He's been using a lot of packages where he's kind of playing that 5th defensive back role, where that I'm guessing that he's playing a little bit of a hybrid slot corner slash, you know, athletic linebacker safety position where he's kind of all over the field and used in certain packages. So it's interesting to see how they're going to use Nick McCloud, or if he's even going to be on the field on game days. But keep Nick McCloud in the back of your mind, man. He may be a guy that they use as a little bit of a weapon on the defense. And also joining Dane Belton in pass breakups, we had Deonte Banks again, proving that he is cornerback one. It's still performing extremely well. He had a pass breakup on the sideline. And then you had Darnay Holmes, who made an appearance, had a pass breakup. And also Kalen Hayes, the cornerback, I guess undrafted free agent cornerback. He had a pass breakup as well. So good for them. That is the news. I'm sorry if it's a little bit of a long video for you guys. I'll try to get it out as soon as I can. But that is the news. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you think this OTA practice went? What was your favorite part about it? And what do you guys think about these new lineups, both on offense and defense? How do you guys kind of make of them? And are they going to be final? And what do you guys want to see happen as the OTA practices go on? All that being said, leave a like if you guys enjoyed, subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!